Yes. What? What was that? Okay.
Yeah, I want to see what it was like. Very old. Sections oriented at farmers, the other times that, engineering species, so, and, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, is Joey? The one here? I guess. Meeting Matt, you got 8 rooms here.
I guess it's a long parcel, I am like the only man.
So then maybe ask them all the questions.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't know what's here. Oh, wait, there's some people on the call too.
Yeah, you gotta make sure everyone's here now. Sarah's here, Matthew's here, and let me just PC. Yep, perfect. Okay. So, um, hmm, is everyone ready? Well, guess I'm gonna start now. So, well, welcome to the cancel debate. And I wanted to randomize the speech, but I'm just gonna go with roles. So first we start with VP external. And are you ready to be the first one?
I am so ready for.
I guess I don't need this right now. How can I? Yep. Perfect. We don't have a microphone, so you can just talk. Oops, my bad. Yep.
Sounds good. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah.
Yep.
Just send it.
Yeah.
I even
You
have a
got
whole
5 minutes to talk. Let me know whenever you're ready.
oh, sounds good. I even got my whole speech printed out, so. Yeah, cool. All right, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for coming out and listening to the debate today, supporting the ECSS, and thanks to Parsa for coordinating all this. Much appreciated. Quick blurb about myself. My name's Mitch. I'm a 4th-year biomedical engineering student, mechanical stream. And I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta. I love traveling, getting away from everything to get into the great outdoors for some backpacking, surfing, hiking, etc. I'm currently VP events. I love event planning. Big fan of sports competitions. I have a couple intramural teams this semester, including volleyball and ultimate frisbee, and generally like making life an adventure. For those of you who know me, you can probably guess that I'm a huge extrovert. I love people and I love being on campus. I spend most of my time here from like 10 a.m. till usually 9 or 10 p.m. as well. But yeah, I've met so many awesome people recently, especially through the last 4 months on the ECSS, and I look forward to making lots more meaningful connections. That's kind of one of the main reasons I'm running for VP external. I think it's aligned with my skill set very well. But I also have a bunch of other points that I'll bring up in a sec about why I want to be in this role. But yeah, I currently stand on ECSS Council as VP events, and some of my projects this term include co-organizing the interdiscipline volleyball tournament, our charity event Order 5, which was a huge success. Thanks to everyone who helped out there. The ECSS versus business hockey game with Sarah, Triple E, which is happening on March 28th. See you guys all there. Tickets coming out either tomorrow or the day after that, depending when we get them from Zap Coffee. and also the brewery tour that happened at the beginning of the semester. But yeah, shout out to the awesome events teams this semester and all the volunteers who made those happen as well. It's a lot of hours put into that stuff. But yeah, looking into the upcoming semester and upcoming year, I'm looking to switch into the VP external role. And I look forward to continue building on the already awesome culture here that we have as part of the ECSS at UVic. As the VP external, my main goal would be to leverage conferences and external connections to build on UVic's engineering culture and establish an even louder and prouder student body. Having attended multiple conferences representing UVic, I was very fortunate to witness the traditions and energy of other engineering programs across Western Canada. And that kind of inspired me to apply for this role because I feel that I'd be able to further integrate elements of this tradition here at UVic. So my main goals as VP external, if I were to be elected, number one, represent you guys, the ECSS, and your best interests on a West, so that's Western Canada, and CFES, that's the national level. So exchanging information, advice, and experiences with other Canadian universities with the goal of building on the culture and student experience here in Victoria. The second thing is coordinating and promoting conferences to the student body. My goal would be to get as many people involved as possible in the ECSS through these conferences and use these experiences for everyone involved to build on the existing culture and build on the ECSS team. Personally, that one kind of resonates with me a lot because these conferences were kind of one of the main reasons that I was recently involved in the ECSS. I think just seeing the culture that other universities and other schools have, as well as the already existing culture here at UVic, was pretty inspiring. And I wish to share that with as many people as I can. So promoting conferences to younger students, as well as the extracurriculars and events associated with that, to the lower years, so like first years, second years in particular, getting people involved in ECSS as early as possible. And also promoting conferences that people can benefit from for not only their degrees, but also for personal development and for development of the culture here at UVic. Yeah, how much time? I got a little bit of time. Yeah, so number three, another big part of the VP external role is coordinating and organizing the UVic engineering competition. UVic actually has two different semesters, so that would be two competitions. But molding these to best prepare UVic competitors for doing as best as they can in regional and national competitions. This past semester, for example, UVic won 4 out of 8 categories at WEC, which is the Western Engineering Competition, and also did very well at the Canadian Engineering Competition. Shout out to you guys for going. I hear there was some good results, 2 out of 4 wins, I think.
The big one first in programming also got an award, like the competition, an award that was for everybody competing.
Sweet. There you go. Just going to show you how awesome UVic is. So building on that and further promoting that. And then most importantly as well, developing large scale, exciting culture building events and working with the VP external and the events team to bring that culture back to UVic and build on it as much as possible. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and see you around. Woohoo!
Right on time. That was like exactly 5 minutes. Okay, so next one's Lachlan. Unfortunately,
Isn't there a question period for the candidate?
yep, there will be a question.
Oh, but awesome, yeah.
Lachlan, okay, so here's the thing. He still haven't sent me a video yet. And I don't see him, let me just make sure, not in Zoom. So we're just gonna skip him for now. And if he ever joins on Zoom, it's gonna do it here. So for now, we're gonna skip Lachlan and we go to VP Communications.
No. Have a queue question period for external first. The question periods
Oh
are
yeah, so we're gonna do, okay, so we're gonna do, got it. Yeah, you know what? Answer the questions first.
Sounds good, no problem.
Yep.
Any questions from the audience?
Any questions? Zoom, any questions?
I have one.
Yep.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Mitchell. The VP external is also one of the big jobs, especially at the West and CFES level, is like dealing with policy changes and then supporting council on policy and Robert's rule and stuff. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. A lot of my kind of policy experience has kind of occurred over the last 4 months. I've just been exposed to a little bit through council meetings every Monday night, talking about getting stuff passed. It's just a really good eye opener for that. But while I was attending some of those conferences, I was actually involved in a little bit of the VPX voting process for the West Ambassador role and some of the voting at these conferences. Then I also have attended a couple of CFES online meetings in which I was kind of exposed to that stuff. But I think this would be most of the policy would be I'd be learning it on the fly with the help from the current VP external, which is you. So thank you in advance, potentially, Sarah. But yeah, I think it's just yeah, that's something that I would be very passionate about learning as we go through. But good question. Any other questions?
Currently, no questions. Hi, yep, sure.
Go.
Are there no more questions?
No more questions. No.
Okay, then I'll ask another one. If other people have questions, they can go, but
Yeah, do you have another one you said?
yeah, I just wanted to let other people go.
Oh, I think you're the only other question.
Yeah, so it's like you talked about a role that has like lots of different responsibilities and parts. I guess what aspect of the role do you think you are like least prepared for, and how would you prepare yourself to be able to succeed in that aspect of the role? Like, what do you think is your weakness in this specific role?
Yeah, no, that's a good question as well. Honestly, I think I'll kind of go back to your first question and say policy. I don't have a ton of experience with legislation and stuff directly related to the ECSS. So I think that's probably my weakness is just learning how to do like the physical policy writing stuff and bringing that back to the ECSS. A lot of that would probably be through the past VP external, whether that be you or other people who have been in that role in the past. But I think to answer your question for how I would prepare myself for that role, is using the transition documents that have been outlined in the past effectively, and just like using interpersonal connections with people who either have gone through the VP external role at UVic or also any of the VP externals from other schools. At some of those conferences, I've also established some pretty strong connections, I feel, with people who have been VP external at other universities as well. So I think that would be a resource that I'd really try to use is yeah, just interacting with other people from other universities as well, and seeing how they perform policy changes at their respective universities, and that bringing that back to UVic as well. So yeah.
Any more questions?
Cool. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
All right.
So, which one of you guys?
Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Steve.
Well, you have to come up because like the microphone's over here. Yeah.
Can we just directly look in the camera?
Yep.
Okay. I am not as tall as Mitch.
Yep. Sorry about
I cannot live it.
Let me fix it. Good.
Just my speech up.
Mm-hmm. And let me know when you're ready to set the timer.
I'm good to go. Hi, everyone. My name is Beyonce, and I am a second-year electrical engineering student. I'm currently the VP Comms, and I'm deciding to run again because I have a lot of ideas that I wasn't able to accomplish during this time. So some of the things I want to get done in my if I get reelected, is work on emails. For one, I noticed that we send a lot of emails out to students, and sometimes we send repetitive emails that can lead to spam and students just not wanting to read them. It's like, oh, we got 10 emails. I'm not going to read all that. So my plan was to work with the external team and the events team to plan out emails. So at the start of the month, we can plan out, like come up with a list of emails we need to send and like schedule them appropriately. So we don't end up sending like 10 in one day because no one's going to read 10 in one day. As well as last semester, I came up with accessibility icons, which I found to be a great success because it helps students figure out, oh, how accessible an event's going to be like. Are they going to be wheelchairs? Is it closed captions? How high intensity the event is? So I want to continue using those accessibility icons in my next term and work with the graphics team to implement them in all our posters and Instagram posts. And a new thing I want to start doing is creating discipline handbooks. So I found like as students, we aren't given a lot of sources to like a lot of sources to base our like study and stuff. And I find like talking to professors is one thing, but talking to students is another. And I feel like professors give you opinions and like what they think you should do, but students actually live through their experiences, and so they can provide better feedback. So the handbooks will include tons of feedback from other students and their experiences in different programs and classes. So it's better to get feedback from your peers rather than a professor. And as well, the discipline handbook will go over all the courses you need and like what order that you can take them in, all the prereqs. And currently, there's nothing like that besides the academic undergrad calendar, which you need to search up everything individually. But this will be in just one handbook. You can just flip to that page and it'll be easily accessible. And I was hoping to add it to the UVic ECSS website. Secondly, my phone turned off. And a new thing I want to implement is recorded advertisements. Currently, we do have the Iron Post, which is a virtual newsletter. But I was planning on shifting that to Instagram and working on the Reels. Because right now, Instagram Reels, we don't really utilize at all. So I feel like if we advertise our events to the Instagram Reels, they'll gather more reach as well, because Instagram favors Reels and videos over Instagram posts. So I feel like Reels will catch the attention of students better and just like get their interest into events. And yeah, that's it.
Nope. Good.
Okay, good.
Alfred, you're up. And then the questions for both of you.
So do I quick questions first? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So Alfred comes in after his talk. The questions would be for both of you. Yeah.
Okay.
Or we can just sit here. You can. Yeah.
Just like
No one's okay. Is this okay?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's
okay.
good. Okay. We'll be doing this a little bit. Hi, everyone. I am Arfaz. I have been working with ECS for the past year and a half. First as a graphics designer, graphics coordinator, and then as a LinkedIn coordinator. I have kind of like have a lot of ideas that I want to implement. And a couple of things that I kind of wanted to discuss, kind of want to improve in the process of UVic ECSS communications team. The very first thing that I wanted to kind of like talk about is the kind of like improving the overall communication system. So right now, when you are a graphic designer, you have to kind of like go through a different kind of like different templates and kind of make different designs for the specific events. So I wanted to improve that. I wanted to kind of like organize the Canva, and so that if you're kind of doing your graphics, you can easily make a template and do it very easily. And also you can get inspirations from past events. I also kind of wanted to improve the way how we communicate with students through posts in Instagrams. And one of the ways I found very useful is that before each month, if you have like a list of all the events that are coming out, and you can post it through the Instagram post, that would be a lot better than posting it through emails. So I wanted to kind of like implement a system where, with the help of a director of IT, we can kind of come up with a way to have all the events in one centralized website, where if you are coming to an event, if the event kind of changes or dates changes, you can easily go to the website, to the link, and kind of go through all the details and can kind of see what changes, if the events are canceled or not, so that we don't really have to kind of send multiple emails to everybody. At the same time, I also wanted to kind of improve the graphics for the team as well, so that once we are sending out the specific graphic, specific event details, we do it only once, and we don't have to send multiple emails or multiple posts in Instagram. One of the other things that I want to kind of improve is that I kind of like wanted to make it Instagram much more available for people who are using, like, who always like get updates, so that like for each event we have we have like a lot of different templates. I want to kind of like work on them as well, so that when you're making a specific graphics design post in the future, you can easily like follow a very standardized process, so you don't really have to go through a lot of hassles. I also wanted to work on like specific visibility as well. This semester we kind of worked on the accessibility icons. I wanted to kind of implement them in the design, in the specific graphics posters that we're doing. And at the same time, I want to work with the corporate team and also with the graphics communications team to implement them all over the our ECSS platforms, so that we can kind of standardize them all over. At the same time, I also want to work on kind of implementing a system for digitalizing the event ticketing. Every time, if you want to buy a ticket for any events, or if you want to like come to an event, you have to come to the EVIC office to kind of like buy them. So what I want to do is that I want to kind of centralize the system in the website, work with director of IT to kind of like have a way for EVIC, for students to go there and kind of like buy the ticket there. It would be a lot more easier for students to kind of do it. And yeah, like that's overall what I want to kind of achieve throughout the throughout my tenure. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. So, any questions? Zoom questions? One?
Matthew has one.
Yep, go for it.
I
Oh,
guess,
Yep.
you both
am
say.
I good?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
good? Okay. What do you guys think is the biggest growth area for VP Comms? Like thing that you want to improve that is currently lacking, or you think could have the biggest impact on students if you do or change?
I think communications. So right now we have kind of like different scheduling system for different posts and events. Sometimes when we send out an event, we do it 2 days before. Sometimes we do it like a couple of weeks before. There is a lot of changes in the events as well. So I want to work with the event team to kind of like implement a system where we can centralize the events in our website, and we can use that so that if there is any changes, students can go to the website and kind of see if there is any changes, kind of a live real-time way. So I feel like that is one of the biggest thing. I also think that right now there is like a lot of specific like changes that happens when we post an event in Instagram. We don't do it at the same time in LinkedIn. So I kind of also want to kind of like have a post that at the beginning of each month, you can see all the specific events that are coming out in that specific month, so that students have a better idea of like, what events were happening in that specific month.
Do I answer it too? Okay. For me, I feel like keeping information consistent, because sometimes I've noticed in the past we post information like, oh, this event will happen on this day and this time, but then later on we learn that, oh, we have to change days, we have to change ticket times. So I want to like confirm with the events team when, like, just make sure everything's consistent, so there's not miscommunication for when events will happen.
Nope. Any more questions?
This is a very first year based question, but when I talk to first years, I say, do you know what the ECSS is? Almost all the time I get no as an answer. So how do you plan to kind of promote ECSS to the first year students?
Yeah. So I actually had an idea for that. So I was thinking, depending on like the events team, but I was thinking about like creating pamphlets and giving that out during first year events, like for like whatever first year orientation there is. And the pamphlet will talk about the ECSS, what we have, a link to our Discord and Linktree, and just like general information about our services and like what we are and how we can help students.
Same as well. I feel like one of the way we can kind of do it is by making more posters available to students, and using with the help of EVSS and other teams, we can kind of like talk about ECSS more, so that
Oh, welcome, sure. All right, Sarah also has a question. Sarah?
Both of you have talked a lot about communication for events specifically. Please talk about your number one goal for the VP Communications role, not related to anything events focused.
I feel like advertising our services is really important because I feel like a lot of students aren't aware we have peer academic advisors, but not peer academic like study sources. And like we have a lot of sources in the lounge itself, like textbooks and other things that students have access to, but they're just not aware of it. And the only way they find out is through word of mouth. So I feel like advertising the all like academic sources we have is important as well.
For me, I feel like we don't use we don't kind of do as much as collaboration as we need to do with other teams. Specifically when it comes to like the websites, we can kind of use that as a way to kind of advertise a different specific things that we want to do. We can always like make a post each specific week about different things that haven't been posted for a long time. I think that would be a really great way for other students to kind of like be aware that, oh yeah, ECSS has this facilities that I can use, or these specific things that I can kind of like look at. Yeah, that was one thing.
Yeah. Any more questions? Well, just some questions then. Okay. Well, Lachlan's here finally. Can you hear me?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Are you ready to give your speech?
Sure, I haven't prepared a video. I've been, shall we say, busy.
Well, you can just turn on your camera and talk if you don't mind, or just like let your camera be off. I don't know, but
I was an idiot and I didn't buy a laptop with a camera, so I hope you can suffice with my beautiful voice.
okay, yeah. You have 5 minutes to 3, 2, 1, go.
So essentially, I think that things at UVic are on a down spiral. I don't believe that we will get to where we need to be with the current trajectory. And I see that we're not focusing on the right issues. We seem to be focusing on lots of luxuries, things that won't really change the future of UVic. I take issue, as everyone has seen in my campaigns, I take issue with the structural issues at UVic. And I know I'm running against someone that definitely does have a well put together platform, and I think there are many great ideas. I just don't think that those are priorities at the moment. So the things that I want to look at is I want to look at essentially how we can wage a more effective war on the issues that really matter deep down in the core. And that is issues like club assignment changes and academic advising reform. So I did put in my presidential run, and I want to echo this again, that like lots of students, and it's been my experience, you show up to the academic advising and you're essentially made to feel like a nuisance. You're made to feel worthless, like they don't have time for you. And oftentimes this has happened to me all the time. I know some students are very well put together and don't have this issue, but I know many other students like myself. We go to the academic advising to get the truth, and oftentimes we get what amounts to a half-baked answer. there have been multiple times where I've been in the academic advising area, just kind of looking at someone who's staring back at me, telling me that I need to do X, Y, Z. And there's like 2 weeks before exams. And if I don't do X, Y, Z, or if I don't make this last ditch effort, I'm essentially screwed and I'll have to change my co-op, all these things. And this is after going back and back and back and saying, are you 100% sure? Do you swear on everything you hold dear that this will not be an issue? So, like, I understand that people have many good ideas, and I agree. The fine gentleman I'm running against does have many good ideas on this area, and I respect him deeply for that. And I understand that some of my suggestions don't exactly fit the mold. I just don't see any avenue. I don't see any avenue anymore for us to actually get something to change, because these issues are just so embedded. They're so baked into the system at UVic. I spoke up about the co-op assignments, and it just doesn't seem like there's any connect with administration. I've spoke to administration and I've said, why are we doing this? Why time after time? If you work at Tesla, God forbid if you work at Tesla, shall we say, in such tumultuous times, but like they're making you do stuff about professionalism from UVic, and you work at like a Fortune 500 company, and it's just not necessary. So my appeal to the voters is not necessarily that I think there's anything wrong with any of the ideas that have been advanced today. It's just that I don't think we're picking our targets properly as engineering students. I think we are aiming for the low-hanging fruit. And I've seen this all the time. Every time I've put myself up for office, it's always been issues that I think are structural and that need to be drilled down to. If the Engineering Student Society could accomplish one thing, if it could only accomplish getting co-op assignments axed for, say, your first work term, because the ones I'm doing right now, they don't make sense. They're a waste of my time. If we could change that, and if we could fix academic advising, like if that's literally all we did, we would be in a way better position than if we did a million cosmetic things. Because I think the bones beneath the structure is fundamentally rotten, and we need to pick our targets way better. Now, that's with all due respect to everyone and the good ideas they bring, but I think prioritization is in need. So that's essentially my shtick.
Your time's almost out. Any?
Yeah, that's my final statement.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions in the chat? Or we do, yep. So yeah, but Lachlan wasn't here, so we skipped to Lachlan and then he's joined, so yeah.
Arsa,
Yep.
should I re-ask my questions that I asked?
Yeah. Yep, that would be great.
Okay. Hey, Lachlan. The other candidate gave their speech before, and I asked two questions, so I will just re-ask them to you so that it's even. The first question that I asked was that the vice president external is the main or is the representative for UVic engineering students on like the national and regional level, and deals with a lot of policy changes and is the main person on council in charge of supporting the team with sort of policy documentation and proper like governance structure. What's your comfort level and experience dealing with policy and Robert's rules and governance?
Okay, so my short answer to that is in high school, I was on the Mayor's Youth Council advising the Mayor of Calgary, and then I was on the Education Minister's Youth Council in Alberta. So I spent a lot of time talking to very high-level government officials, and then I also did debate at the national level in high school. So Like, I know there's been some suggestion that I'm not exactly the most parliamentary type of man, but I think I can get around with the decorum.
Okay. And then should I ask my second question that I asked, Martha?
Yep.
Okay. In your opinion, Lachlan, because Mitch already answered, what aspect of the vice president external role, because it's a very multifaceted role, what aspect do you think you are like the weakest in and would struggle the most in? And what is your plan to overcome that?
That is a great question. When it comes to what I would say is the weakest, I think I would probably have some issue with engaging like absolute randoms. So it's kind of difficult, and I think this engineering student society kind of struggles with this because there is kind of a group, an in-group, and then there's people that are just kind of way off the map. I don't know exactly how we would kind of get to the people that, they show up for classes and then they immediately drive home and then they like live outside the society of the university essentially. But I feel like in essence, I was kind of that person for like the first 2 years of being here. So I kind of I kind of understand that, but I still think it's hard to engage people that just seem to want to grind on the degree and then go home. So that would be hard.
And Matthew, you can go on.
Okay. So this is for both of you since I didn't ask the question before, just so then that knowledge is common. What drew you to VP events in particular compared to any other position on council?
External.
External, sorry. My bad. I'm mixing up words.
For sure. Yeah, maybe I'll take this one first. So I currently stand as VP events. That's probably why there's a little confusing. All good. But I kind of mentioned earlier, my passion for VP external kind of started through attending conferences. So I've attended EM, AGMR, and WEC. Those have since been renamed. But I think just being able to see the engineering culture that other universities have and the passion for those programs, I think that's something that UVic already has a lot of. But it's something that we could really build on. And actually, I really liked your point, Lachlan, there about kind of how we can like trying to find new ways to incorporate like a broader group of the ECSS society. I kind of agree with you, as you mentioned there, that there's some people who kind of don't really get involved with the ECSS directly. Rather, they kind of do their classes and then they head off campus to do that kind of stuff. But I think primarily that was kind of my one of my passions for why I was in the VP events role, and I think it is also that ties very closely with VP external, and just being able to kind of leverage the culture that other universities have and combine that with the existing event culture that we have here at UVic, and how we can reach as many people as possible. I think that's something that UVic in particular could do really well on in the past, and it's something that it's all about time, and it's about making small changes and implementing long-term traditions over time. So I think the VP external role is kind of invaluable in the sense that, going outside of UVic to see what other universities are like and using them as a model to bring that back to UVic and kind of build on that existing culture here. It's probably my reasoning for running for this role.
Lachlan?
So I guess my reasoning is kind of the same, but I see myself as less of a diplomat and as more of a battle commander. So I don't think that we're being aggressive enough in our marketing of our program and our talent. And obviously this ties into the whole co-op thing. But when people talk about Waterloo, that people kind of have this image of an engineering student that is absolutely balling out of control, completely cracked with like 5 internships at Apple, one after another. And I think I don't, because I've spoken to people from other universities, some of the best universities in the States, and they ask me like really low level questions that aren't very smart. And I think a lot of the university prestige thing and engineering student society prestige thing is down to marketing. So what I want to do is I want to completely blitz every single competition. I want to win like we've never won before. I want UVic. I want to do whatever we can to kind of revamp the culture to be like, no, we're not just an engineering program. We are the engineering program because I think our talent is first rate. And I know we're missing out on lots of stuff. So just a quick example, I was actually in the Calgary airport when I saw the engineering competition team going to, I think, Saskatchewan or whatever. And that was kind of an odd experience because I was going to a different space conference. No one from UVic attended this SEDS conference, and it was full of all the top space employers. Like I was the only guy, and I just went as a man, just by myself. I think we're missing a lot of opportunities. We don't have enough faculty supporting us to network. And I don't think we have that killer instinct, speaking metaphorically, to kind of gear us forward. Because I know we have a lot of great people and a lot of great results. I just want to see how can we put more energy into that. Higher octane is what I want.
To respond to that after.
Question?
Sorry, no, I really like the initiative there, Lachlan. Are we able to respond to the answer?
No, you're not allowed to.
Oh, you're not?
No, okay, apparently you're not
Okay,
allowed.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, okay, then that's it, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. Good job, Lachlan. Pleasure.
Oh, you
Thank
have,
you.
oh, yeah, my
Good
bad.
luck.
Yeah, yeah, there is still one more question. Yeah,
Never mind.
and can you be loud enough so?
Yeah, for sure. I know both of you have some good ideas that do put the engineering and computer science student body first, to make their lives better. But do you have a plan of execution for whatever, both of you wanted to do?
For sure. So, sorry, the question's just to reiterate.
Lachlan goes first this time.
Lachlan goes first this time, yep. Lachlan?
Okay, so as far as I heard, the question was, do I have an action plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my action plan is pretty simple. The first day that I hopefully get into this position, I immediately send emails to the dean, the vice dean, and the head of the co-op office, and I say that we need to have a meeting, and I see if I can do some massive damage when it comes to first year co-op assignments, and if I can explain to them what is going on the actual ground, on the ground physically when it comes to the academic advising. When it comes to the engineering competitions, like my short answer is essentially propaganda. I don't think we have an aggressive enough marketing campaign, not in the sense that we're not aggressive enough in its scope, but I don't think anyone has actually introduced the idea of having, of UVic engineering students waking up in the morning saying, we are the killer engineering program. We are the tip top. I think, faculty and maybe the relaxed island environment, I don't know, something in the water. But I think that we are kind of, we psychologically see ourselves as in the middle. But I want to see if we can, get some emails sent out, some posters, some speeches. If I can just send emails to people saying, I want you to join for this competition team. And we're going to take everything from all these big schools. We're going to get every single trophy, and people are going to say, what happened? Where did these people come from? And we're going to say UVic. So that's essentially my plan. Email the people that can make structural changes and then start, haranguing the crowd and getting them fired up to win.
For sure. Thanks, Jay, for that question. I think I'll kind of take an opposite stance in this sense. In regard to action plan, I think I kind of mentioned earlier is that making slow, gradual changes over time, using your momentum to build, is probably, in my opinion, the most effective way of making long-term change. And I would like to iterate too that I think the UVic engineering program already has a lot of momentum and doesn't really need to make any extreme measures to change the way we perform in engineering competitions. For example, as I mentioned earlier as well, at the Western Engineering Conference that you saw us in the airport at, 4 out of 8 categories actually were won by UVic. And furthermore, 2 categories were recently won by those people who've made it to the Canadian engineering competition. And I think that is an example of the momentum that UVic already has. And I think building on that is much more important than radicalizing in any way. And yeah, I think just my game plan is building on that and building on the events we already have and furthering not only the competitive nature that we already do have, but also promoting the passion and the drive by the entirety of the ECSS community to back each other up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
I like, the guy online, is he running for VP external?
Same role, yeah.
Okay, so I was just wondering, like, what's the correlation between that and, the, what's it called, the advisor? It's a very good point you've got to, but.
Questions cannot be candidate specific.
Oh, yeah, the question
Oh,
should be,
my
yeah,
bad,
both
my
of
bad.
you will be able to
If it's
answer.
not candidate specific, then how is he planning on changing it? Because, I mean, I can relate to what he said, like, the advisor, like, they do pay the lady that does the advisor, but she literally doesn't do anything. You have to do it on your own. So I'm wondering, how is he planning to, like, talk to her to, like, do better, or like talk to the school? Because it seems like the problem has been here for a long time, and it hasn't been like changed. No one has done anything about it. So what's his action plan? You know,
Well, you wanna?
Yeah, so I guess,
Sure.
yeah, so I guess the question is kind of like to reiterate about like the problem that was brought up about like student and teacher
basically, just like the
like
advice.
or academic advisor. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess it's my turn to go first here. Yeah, I think academic advising, traditionally in the past, I personally haven't had too much of a problem with them, but I have heard from lots of people that that's a problem, that they aren't getting enough attention from the academic advisors, et cetera. I think to answer your question there, David, the VP external role in particular, I think the way that I personally would be able to benefit the student body the most through that sense is to bring that question to other universities, be like, hey, do you have this same problem at U of C or U of A? Like, have you had a problem with students not being able to connect with their academic advisors effectively? And I think, yeah, just like that's the role of the external position, is to be an external representative to UVic and learn and bring back knowledge from other universities, and then be able to pass that on to the VP internal and the rest of the council, and also make changes in that way. So I think personally, just acting as that intermediary is probably how I would be able to more effectively help with that.
Lachlan?
Well, my interpretation of external, as everyone has probably gathered, is a little more flexible. So what I would do is, because I personally have been put through the ringer on academic advising. Like literally, I show up there a month before my co-op term, and I'm told that I like don't have XYZ random prerequisite that I need, and that it's essentially all my fault for being an idiot. And then like I've been made to feel, and I know because I've heard this all the time in my classes. Sometimes students will go, and I don't know if it's just a bad day or the sun wasn't shining properly, but I've been made to feel like literally worse than border security, that I should just go away, that I'm a nuisance, and that it'd be better if I was just not bothering them. So when I say external, I don't necessarily like think that other universities can help us. Like I get that that's an important liaison, and I do plan to take on those duties and do them well. But my crusade, if there ever was a crusade that I was involved in, and you can see it through my entire track record, there's a disconnect between the faculty and the students, and I don't feel like anyone's been pushing the envelope enough. I don't think that there have been meetings where there's been an actual pushback, because I don't think people really know how to push back on the leadership without, feeling that they're at risk of some blowback or something. But I guess I don't have the self-preservation instinct, and I just can't contain myself. I have to speak the truth, because it's really going to hurt people. People have come here. Some people have come from very far. They put their entire life into this. And if you're not getting the support you need, it makes you feel like less. It makes you feel like nobody's nothing. And that's happened to me, and it's happened to lots of people. So that's a priority for me. It can't happen anymore. And I'm going to make those meetings and make those calls. So that's my plan.
Being the VP external role is quite arduous in terms that it's a busy role, it's a lot of work. And again, you're still a student on top of that. How do you plan to balance all of those conferences, missing assignments, and all the time that goes into the role to do it well with, again, just being an engineering student?
Lachlan, yeah, Lachlan, you need to go first.
Okay, so currently I'm on co-op, which is why I sadly couldn't be there with all you fine people. But I work 12-hour shifts. Like my official shift is 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Then I get a week off, but actually I got a job physically sanding sea cans. So essentially my official shifts are 12 hours all day, every day, including weekends. And then when I get home, I work on papers, projects, calling people, getting everything done. So the only case in which I wouldn't be able to physically handle the demands is if I was to die in the position, in which case I hope everyone would support Mitchell, yes. Make sure I get that right, for taking over. But I think it's an issue of like stamina is important. I don't necessarily think that's really an issue for engineering students, but it's an issue for maybe some people that want to balance things, but I don't know balance. I've never done balance in my life. I would rather lose all my hair and be successful than have it all and be a nobody. And it's looks like it's going that way. So my solution is to give it everything I have, and there's a lot of time in the day. If you sleep 6 hours, you can get stuff done. And I think everybody knows that, if you treat every day like there's an exam tomorrow, you'll get stuff done. So that's my plan. I think I'm tough.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think some grit and determination is needed for sure for these roles, as you mentioned there, Kiana. Yeah, I think the VP external role has a very similar workload to the VP events role that I'm currently in. So I think a similar model to what I have currently been doing is what I would continue to do. I think just something that I also like to outline is, yeah, you can totally have grit and determination and put as many hours of the day as you can into a role, but I think it's also important to have balance, not only between like with anything with your work life and your personal life. Same thing goes for this role here. I think, it's important to establish good relations well with your council team and your directors and stuff as well, and have the confidence and ability to also be like, hey, completely honest, like this is something that I don't have the capacity for, and be able to use your team around you and work with your team to make sure that the entire society as a whole is benefited, and not just take on too much of a personal load. I think just being, to answer the question, there's just being self-aware and being able to work effectively with a team, as well as putting the determination is the strategy, in my opinion.
Question. Nothing on Zoom, and yeah, I guess we can move on. Yep.
Cool.
Yep, perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Matthew, are you?
Yeah.
So VP internal, Matthew, oh yeah, wait, let me
Yay, everybody gets to see my face.
yep. Wait, just yeah, better now. So you have 5 minutes starting from now.
Okay, thank you. So hey everyone, I'm Matthew Allen Curtis. You may know me as Matthew or may know me as Alan. Either way, I'm a fourth year software engineering student, and I've been involved in the ECSS for about 3 years now. Just a quick summary of some of the things I've done. This past term, I helped run the Discipline Days as VP Corporate, where we had over 19 different companies come out and network with our students, split up by discipline. I helped organize and run the Order of Pi charity, which we just had this past week, but I did it 2 years ago, and we raised over $4,000 in donations. I've also had a very active hand in the local engineering competition in both fall 2023 and 2024, where we had about a 50% increase in student engagement, and every category had judges from the industry. So that's just a quick summary to display that I'm very much so familiar with the ECSS. And now for more of the things I want to do in VP internal directly. One of the main parts of VP internal is supporting the discipline reps. And I feel like this is something that often can get neglected because we are busy students at the end of the day, and school does come first. but I want to make sure the discipline reps are fully utilized and have the communication and training needed to help resolve some of the issues for their discipline. So then less work would need to come to me, but students still can feel support. I'll do so by creating clear guidelines and providing the training, as well as communicating with them. To further the advocacy for people in each specific discipline, I want to establish what other universities have in discipline focused student societies. You can think of like the Biomedical Engineering Student Society or the Canadian Society of Civil Engineers Student Chapter, where they will focus on tailored events, networking opportunities, as well as have a better voice for the discipline. I want to help bridge the gap between students and professors by having 2 to 3 mixer events between students and professors. The formality will be trying to be informal while allowing for meaningful discussions and connections between them to help you feel less like it's an us versus them situation. Going on some of the topics that were already discussed today, I want to enhance academic support and mental well-being because I understand the struggle that if you are not able to advocate for yourself well, then it becomes a big challenge trying to get what you want from the faculty and other organizations that tend to treat us less as adults and more as children attending university. Obviously, I do understand that. Thank you, Parsa. So I will continue to work with the faculty to address notoriously difficult classes and work with professors to find ways to help students in their learning. I also want to have more mental health and well-being being a bigger part of the ECSS because, as we know, engineering's hard and mental health already kicks their butt enough. Events of these would fall a bit more into student life, like pot painting or board game nights, but I'll work with student life to help make these happen. And that's my whole pitch. Thank you.
Hey, question. Oh,
Is the other candidate here?
the other candidate withdrew, so nope, it's only Matthew now.
Okay.
Questions? Nothing.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that we have issues with academic advising? And if so, are you in favor of a more, shall we say, aggressive going to talk to people approach? Or do you think that there are other more underhanded ways, perhaps some more smooth ways that it could be addressed?
Okay. I do think we have an issue with like academic advising and the undergrad office generally, because having been on council, they've prevented us from doing several things that we firmly believe would be in the best interest of students. Things such as orientation and student community building events. So I do think we have a problem with the undergrad office, academic advising, and the faculty broadly. That said, they do some good things. Like the faculty gave $6,000 in funding for the people going to the Canadian engineering competition. As for methods to approach, I don't think going in with like going in hard and fast is not the strategy because relationships between us and the faculty are already strained enough as is. And I don't want to make things worse and set up the ECSS to be in a worse position for the long term. That said, I will be firm in requests that I have for the faculty and will work to come to whatever compromise works for both of us to get students' needs met.
Any other question?
What are your plans to work with the discipline reps to have a better network and communicate with all of the disciplines to solve issues such as our ongoing communications regarding the makerspace and other issues that we disagree with the faculty on.
Okay, so just to sort of reiterate what I heard, what are your plans to work with discipline reps? That's perfect. My plans, the big one there is I'm uncertain at this moment how long-term discipline reps will work with the discipline societies. That is something that I don't have a solid answer for yet, but for immediate actions to help the discipline reps, I want to help provide them with the materials and resources of, say, the ECE rep and ECE 260. Many students complain about it being notoriously tough and brutal. I want to provide the ECE rep with the material, with the resources to be able to help the student bring those concerns up to the prof and address it in a fair way for both the student and the prof, while ensuring that the student rep feels prepared to do that and they're not being thrown under the bus.
Yep. No more questions, I guess.
Can I ask one?
Oh, yep, go for it.
Yeah, so VPI does a lot of different things, just like the external role. There's a lot on the go. What aspect of the role do you think you'd struggle the most with, and how are you going to ensure that you're able to succeed?
That's a good one. I will say probably the part that I'll struggle with the most is clearly articulating what both me and the students want to faculty, because when I get into heated situations, I do not have great communication. That said, with that knowing that that's my problem, the solution really is to take a breath when I start to get heated, calm down, and focus on clearly stating what I want to get done.
Hey, then no more questions, I guess.
Can I have one more? One more?
Hey, yep, go for it. Yep.
Do you have any opinion on the importance, or perhaps maybe you disagree that it's not important, of actually seeing the big high up faculty in the trenches, so to speak, with the people that they're serving? Because I've been here like 2 years, 2.5 years. I used to sleep here actually, like in the engineering building before the cleaning lady kicked me out at 3 a.m. one night. And I've only seen the dean here one time. Now that's not a criticism to say the dean is not doing anything. I'm sure she's working hard, but I don't think the students or the dean, somehow there's a disconnect in both of our schedules, because I am not seeing people like I would give anything. I would give anything for some like slightly upper level faculty member to just pull me aside and be like, "Hey, what's your thoughts?" So do you have any idea on how maybe we could get something like that going? Like physically see these people asking us questions?
So I guess any direct plan to get more engagement from the upper level faculty, like the dean, assistant dean, and all of them. Am I understanding the question right? I want to clarify that. So then I don't
Yeah.
go off on the wrong thing.
Is there any, I'll try to phrase it as a question. Do you have any plans on direct upper level faculty engagement with the students?
I can't say I have a solid plan yet. I'll be honest about that. But I would say I would love to see them come out to the prof student social, because I agree that that is a problem. I personally, I've only met the dean maybe 2 or 3 times in person. One was for an order of pie thing, one was randomly in the elevator, and I'm counting for one that I'm probably forgetting. So I do think it would be good to have more connection with them. However, that being said, I do know that this past year on council, there's been times when we've wanted to be in quick communication with the dean in particular, and the timing's just not working out because the dean's going places to try and get UVic money or whatever important duties of her role. So it will be a bit of a balancing act, but I do want to see more involvement with students, with people in the upper faculty.
Yep. Questions? Yep.
Yeah, so like another kind of part of VP internal from my understanding is working with the first year rep and helping them, like supporting them with first year council stuff, especially like the discipline panel in the spring. So yeah, I was just wondering if you had any particular things that you were thinking of in terms of how you could support the next first year rep and work on the discipline panel for the next upcoming year.
Yeah. So I've actually talked to who was going to be my opponent. And well, they like after they had decided personally that they did not want to run. And I said to them that I would really appreciate their help in the fall of what support they could have really liked. Because my first year here, I was not actively involved in the ECSS. And I didn't even really go into the room except one time. So in terms of what support I'll provide, I'll try to provide the support I can think of, but I will be relying on other people who have a more recent lived experience of what first year is like. And as for helping out with discipline events and that kind of discipline panel and whatnot, I would like to see that happen a bit earlier in the term, so then it can be easier for students to attend and not be busy with midterms and all that.
Thank you.
Questions? Yep. Then, thanks, Matthew. Yep, no more questions, I guess. Yep.
Thank you.
Next one. Oh, yep, need to turn it back on, my bad. Sarah. VP, just give me a second. VP events.
Yes, sir.
Yep, lights. Oh. And yep, we can start now. 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sarah. I am currently the Vice President External for the University of Victoria Engineering and Computer Science Student Society. This is actually, oh no, I think my Wi-Fi is cutting out. Some of you guys were freezing when you were going, so apologies if I cut out. This is my second year being the VPX. I have had such a fabulous time getting to represent all of you lovely people on the regional and national level. I was also previously the VP internal and first year rep, so this would be my 5th year on council. It's actually like I try not to think about that, but that's fine. In all of these roles, I have helped to plan events and really enjoyed planning events. When I was the first year rep, I organized social events and some professional events. For the first years, like was just mentioned, as the first year rep, I helped to organize the discipline panel. I also had like a holiday party and an end of term celebration where we all painted hard hats to celebrate finishing our first year. So that was really exciting. As the VP internal, I ran the teaching award event twice, and the dean attended this event and met with me, and she gave a speech at the event, and I spoke and awarded the award that students had voted on. As the VP external, this is my second year organizing the engineering versus business hockey game, an event that has been able to involve lots of new people to the student society that hadn't interacted with us before. And I also helped to organize Triple E, the pub crawl that happened last summer. So kind of, I guess, all this to say is I've helped to organize and run and being the main person running several different types of events throughout even my non-events roles. And these have been both like social events or party events or events with profs and faculty. I've really enjoyed running events and getting to know people, and would just love to carry on and sort of have that as my actual role instead of just, I don't know, helping out a little. I think we do a pretty good job at events, but there's some things that I want to implement. Right now we have no real like graduation celebration or banquet or party at all. I think successfully completing an engineering degree is one of the toughest things some of us are going to do in our life. So it'd be really exciting to celebrate that. And I hope to leverage my external experience from the past 2 years to be able to work with students from other schools and hear about how they run these sorts of graduation events. Having been the VP external for 2 years, I've been interacting with students from other schools and seeing the different types of culture and events that are run other places. And I really want to bring back some of this engineering culture to our school too. And I also want to invite students from other schools to attend our events. When I was the VPX last year in the summer, I helped with Bug Push, our big charity event, and invited students from UBC, which was really exciting. And they signed up a team. And that was a really fun way for students to get to connect with other engineering students across the country that we might not have been able to before. Essentially, I have lots of experience in the student society and being on council, and I'm confident that I will not only be a helpful and effective council member and just teammate to the other people on the team, but also can use my variety of event planning experience in addition to my strong delegation and management and leadership experience from having delegations of like 40 people at conferences, to altogether successfully be able to run, thank you, Parsa, some really fun events, involve all of you guys, make sure you have a fun time at university and are able to party on your way out. Yay!
Question.
I was just thinking of this as you were speaking there, Sarah. For that grad event you mentioned, what semester would that be? Like where in the year would you be planning to implement that?
So obviously people graduate all the time throughout the year, like at any school. I know that at UVic we have more variation. My plan would be for it to like be aligned with sort of April graduation. That's the most common time that students graduate. And that's also most common, especially for computer science students, several of whom don't do co-ops. But I would want to run it so like that obviously I'm not running like not this April. Like, okay, right, I'm the VPX now. So like next April, at the end of my term, it would be the event. And then people that graduated in like December 2025 or August 2025 would be invited to the April 2026 grad event. So it's like if you graduate within like that year, you could go. Again, this is like not a decision I need to make right now, but that was my rough plan.
Yep, question.
You've done so many roles in the ECSS. I'm curious what drew you to events in particular this time. Like what
Yeah. Because like I've had such a wide variety and diverse set of roles, but in all of them I've just been able to run some events too. Like right now in the VPX, I'm running this hockey game. That's not something the VPX is supposed to be doing. I just like I want to start this last year, and I knew that other schools did it, and I was like, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun. We have like 50 people who want to play on the team, and lots of people come and watch the games, and I've really enjoyed that and enjoy running events and attending events, and think that especially because I've had the opportunity to get to work with students from so many different schools from the past 2 years, I have a lot of ideas for different events and connections that I can use to help with the planning. But why events specifically? Just because that's been sort of, I guess, the only constant between all the roles. I've always planned about 1 or 2 events, big events.
Perfect. No more questions, I guess.
I have a question.
Oh, yep, go for it.
Okay, if you were in a debate where there was some life-changing prize and you had to win a debate against a high-ranking faculty member about an issue that you think the ECSS is right about, but faculty is wrong about, what would you pick to give yourself the best chance of winning, and what would your arguments be for why?
Sorry, what do you mean, what would I pick?
What issue do you
Oh, what
think
issue would I pick?
is the best issue we have, and what's the best chance of winning the debate?
It's a great question. I think I wouldn't attempt to just like have a heated debate. I don't think that's super productive. But assuming that's the only option, I must have a heated debate one-on-one with a faculty member. Like I guess students have often felt unsupported. I don't think that's a unique to UVic situation. I also don't think that's necessarily intentional by the faculty. But I don't know, support's a big thing. Maybe I talk about the elevator and ELW not working. That's sort of not ideal. I think I could win that one. I used to debate. I won debate provincials in school.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Right, so we move on to, thank you, sorry, you can, oh, yeah. Okay, yep. We move on to David here, VP Equity. And, gonna turn on the lights, just be ready, everyone. And, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Oh, hello, everyone. My name is David. And just a little bit about me. I'm from Nigeria and I'm a third-year electrical engineering student. And today I'm running for VP Equity. And I feel like this is a very important role because it's there to represent like the minority and people with like different backgrounds, just give them an equal playing field, like a equal opportunity, just like everyone else. And today I'm running because I want to focus on fostering inclusive representation. I'll do this by making sure that underrepresented voices are heard by working closely with cultural organizations and student groups such as the religious groups, the LGBTQ plus groups, and other affinity groups, just to hear like a feedback and gather like perspectives from all the other minorities. And I also focus on expanding cultural awareness. You know, I can organize workshops, events that help us learn about each other's stories and build some kind of empathy, you know. And I also improve access to essential resources, like strengthening relationship between like alumni and also hosting professional workshops for professional growth for every like minority or anyone just in general. And I also build sustainable policies, working with the university leaders to create lasting change that benefits current and future students. So my main goal for this role, I haven't really done anything in like leadership, but my main goal is just to, you know, help out the minorities, help out students in general, to give everyone an equal like playing field, you know, and anyone that can really speak up, you know, come to me and I could air out their opinions.
Questions?
David, you mentioned that you kind of had a vision for an event that would be like learning people's stories and sharing common stuff. Do you have any like vision for how that would look? Anything that you hope for that thing?
Yeah, actually. So I was thinking of working with like the events team or the communication, whoever like organizes events, just put out something there, you know, kind of like a networking session or maybe like a meetup session just to, you know, everyone is welcome there, you know. Sometimes engineers do need to like talk to each other just to hear each other's story. Like I personally have a lot, you know, down from like first year, second year, you know, I have a lot of things to say, you know, just sharing, you know, knowing more people, you know, getting to hear from others. I think that's kind of important, you know. You don't just want to leave school just, you know, being by yourself. Like just, you know, you want to know about other people and how, you know, their journey has been. I think that's important.
Yep, yep, sorry, you can ask. Yep, go on. Sarah, can you? Question?
Thank you. Yeah, question.
Yep.
What do you think is, or like, sorry, do you have any ideas on supports, or resources we could have for international students? Or things you want to implement for international students?
Okay, so personally, I feel like if we can put out like a Q&A or like maybe a Google form out there on Discord or like out on flyers and just kind of QR code gets like the inputs of different people, international students, even domestic students. We could really get to know like the problems, things we could solve, because not many people want to really come in person and talk about what they are facing, right? So we could make it like somewhat anonymous, right? Where everyone could like drop like a suggestion, like what we could change, what we could work on, what's bothering them. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just like create like a platform for people to air their opinions or suggestions.
So EDI is kind of like one of the main kind of fields that VP Equity tackles. So equity, diversity, and inclusion. So being an engineer in computer science, are there any particular areas where we're kind of lacking in EDI? And or like any kind of like barriers that you feel are really preventing students from getting the supports they need? And like maybe ideas to
So far from what I've seen, I think we are doing pretty well when it comes to like equity, diversity and like inclusion. I feel like because we have like a women in engineering group, and you know, women are predominantly not in the engineering field, and we have that put in place to like support the ladies in the engineering. And you know, there are like different clubs, you know, where everyone can get together, you know, and help themselves. So I feel like we are doing pretty good in that sense. But one way we could improve it is, like I said, you know, get more information from like other people. Like we could get this information from like different groups on campus, like the religious groups, the LGBTQ plus groups, and all the affinity groups. So we could get feedback from them. I think that's how we could improve.
Any questions? Any other questions? On Zoom, anything? Oh, yep. Another question, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can I go for it? What inspired you to run for this role, and how did you find out about this opportunity?
Okay, so actually, it's a really funny story. But as you know, I'm a visible minority. Not in a bad way, but like I feel like I can represent like other minorities and other students as a whole. And what motivated me to run for this is I just want to have a feel of a leadership position, just you know, to brace myself up for anything to come in the future, because I do want to be in a leadership position in the future, like maybe as the CEO or like the, you know, manager of somewhere. Like it starts from somewhere. So I feel like this is giving me like a foundation. So if I'm given the opportunity, I will work hard and I'll do my research, and I'm very good at time management. So I will split my time up, put some effort into this role and, really see how I could give to ECSS.
I was wondering, have you thought of what kind of ways that you can interact with the faculty in terms of like helping get students the supports they need, or collaborating with faculty on anything, or I don't know.
Yeah. So from what I've seen, I've many people in the council have probably had that experience. So what I would do is I would talk to them and just ask them how it goes, like the steps. And once I learn that, then I will be able to like talk to faculty and, give the feedback of the students.
Guess we're done with questions. Nope, nothing on Zoom, and yeah, okay, good to go. Then we have Jay. VP Corporate. Yep, okay, let's get close here. And you have 5 minutes to talk. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and I'm a first-year engineering and computer science student here at UVic. And yeah, I'm running for the role of VP Corporate. I want to start by saying huge shout out to Matthew. He's done this role before, and I think he's done it really well. But I do want to make some changes that he may not have thought of. So to give an idea of why I'm running for this role, I want to start by saying that as a student here at UVic, who's passionate about both engineering and computer science, I get that all students here are trying to look to make connections with industry professionals. And everyone's trying to be at that place with someone that they can get a job out of. So yeah, I do think it's very important. And that's why I want to make some changes to the career fairs that we have here at UVic. And so one thing I've noticed at these fairs, like the high tech fair that I've been to, there's been a lack of companies from Vancouver. I think it's important to realize that yes, I think Victoria is awesome, but I know Vancouver is well-known place for a good job market for both engineers and computer science students, and I think we should take advantage of it. So as one of the things that I'm trying to want to do if I'm elected is I want to try to bring more Vancouver engineering companies here at UVic. I know it's hard because we live on an island and it's hard to get partnerships, convince companies to come all the way, pay for the ferry, and then get all their stuff over here and set it up. But I'll try my best to see what I can do. And another goal that I have for VP Corporate is I want to try to get more partnerships to help us with events such as UVic and some of the conferences that we're going to host here. And yeah, and one final thing that I want to mention is another thing that I'm going to do is try to maintain our good reputation with our current partnerships and also try to continue our involvement with Geoscientists and Engineers BC. They do a lot for us. They helped us with UVic this year, and I think we should maintain that good connection. So yeah, and then if I'm elected, I'll be dedicated to make sure that I do everything that I am saying right now, and I want to make sure that I do the best for engineers and computer science students and best help them in this role. Thank you very much.
Question, Alan. Yep, Matthew.
Thank you. So I guess my question is, obviously being on council, you're super busy, and these are great goals. I'm not gonna like knock on them, and I fully support you doing them. But if you only had a certain limited amount of time, what would you prioritize to get done first?
Well, the biggest priority I have right now is to allow students to have more opportunities to get jobs. Um, because I know everyone kind of jokes about how the computer science market is really bad and the engineering market is really bad and how we're all gonna end up homeless after we graduate. But I want to make sure that they end up getting good jobs, so I want to prioritize trying to get Vancouver companies to here for career first so that they can have a good opportunity to meet these Vancouver companies because I think when you go to Indeed or when you go to Glassdoor, you don't see many jobs on Victoria. You see a lot on Vancouver. So yeah, that's one of the things I want to prioritize. And another thing I want to prioritize is I also don't want to let Victoria companies just like take the back seat. I think we should prioritize also companies in Victoria that's not just government positions. So I want to just talk to companies rather than government jobs, and I want to talk to companies specifically at Vancouver.
So for events and for different organizations, we have like different sponsorship that happens. And we collect the donation and sponsorship from companies. So if you are elected in the role, how do you plan on doing that? And how do you plan on like collecting the sponsorship? How do you
Well, I want to try to see what worked in the previous year, so I'm going to look through the transition documents and I'm going to get some help from the previous VP corporate, see what they've done. But I also have personal experience on my own on talking to companies. I was the lead outreach person for my robotics club at Mount Doug, which they've recently actually kind of come to UVic to do stuff. So I think with some of the experiences I have, I know what kind of companies what they want to hear from us, and I also know what we want. So I'm gonna try to utilize my own skills along with everyone else's who's been VP corporate before to try to get these to try to partner up and try to get companies to help us.
What was the question? How do you plan to get sponsorships?
Yeah, the question was, how do we plan to get sponsorships for events? I can reiterate the answer if that helps.
Okay, perfect.
You talked about the high tech career fair, which is, I believe, that's UVic run, like the ECS, co-op office run. So how would you plan on like working with them to get more Vancouver companies start with that?
That's a good question. I think one of the biggest parts of, I guess, kind of weaknesses of the high tech fair was honestly, firstly, was just the small amount of space that we had. Like it was all crowded, and I think that the co-op office would have able to get more companies if they had the space to do so. So I'll try to talk to the co-op office to see if we can get a bigger space, and then I'll also kind of give the benefits on why we can benefit from having more Vancouver companies here and not just companies from Victoria.
Questions?
I've got one.
Yep, go for it.
So you strike me as a man of high vision, which is good to see. My question is, will you be pushing on the co-op office to do better for us? Because I've got a few facets here. The main question is, will you be pushing them to do better, and do you want to engage with them? And then the justification for that is that co-ops are way too hard to get, And especially for international students without networks or nepotism in the country, it's basically impossible to land that first co-op unless you're really lucky in the new job market. So will you be able to integrate reaching out to corporations with also kind of telling the co-op office that there needs to be some changes?
Yes, I do agree that there needs to be some changes, and some of the things that the co-op office does, such as the assignments, I think they can be reduced a little bit. And I do agree that it's really hard for international students. But I do think that the best way to kind of help the student body to try to get some of these jobs is through networking. I think networking is the best way to as like you reach out to these companies and try to, get a bit personal, because I think personality is what a lot of jobs look for. So I think networking is the best option. So my goals is to make career fairs better, which I think aligns with what what you're trying to kind of get at.
When you're talking about jobs, are you mostly referring to co-ops or also like post-grad jobs, or just to clarify what you're?
Well, I mean, I don't really know what people really want, because like people want different things. Some students, they may want to try to get just the first job so that they have some experience to get their dream job, or they may have let's say they want to find whatever they can get to as their first job. Like they may even try to use their first co-op, maintain some good relation, and they might want to use that as the job out of their university. So all I'm trying to do is provide them the jobs so that they can choose whether they want to try to maintain that co-op job they get, or they want to use it as experience to get some jobs out of university.
I just meant like when you were talking about jobs beforehand, were you referring to co-op jobs or like after people graduate jobs? Because it seems like you're the co-op jobs. Right?
Yeah, I was focusing on co-op jobs.
So it's just a clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
So just a small question.
Yeah.
How do you plan on using our social media platform, or if you're planning on using them for the role? For example, we have Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and we use LinkedIn for a lot of different events and a lot of different things. How do you plan on using those platforms for co-ops and for reaching out to students for co-ops?
Well, I actually never thought of using the online platforms for this role, but if I were to use it, it would be to really kind of level with companies, because companies, they're not just going to come here and offer jobs without something in return. So they may want advertising, or they may want us to kind of talk about them. So if I were to use the social media platform for something, for this role, it would be for that. It would be to help the companies back so that they help us. Because like sometimes they may just say no because they don't have advertisement in return. So if that answers your question.
Yes, we're done now. Nothing on Zoom, and yep, thank you. Yeah, everyone had their speech, and questions are done. So, yep, everything's done now. Yep. Yeah, no worries. Bye bye. No worries.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Parsa, for running this.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you, Parsa.
Okay, now I'm just gonna.